If your city starts to feel occupied, if the uniforms change but the fear feels familiar, remember this story. And I apologize in advance for all of the mispronunciations that I'm about to make. But in August of 1980, in the port city of Gdańsk, Poland, a 51-year-old crane operator named Anna Walkabouts was fired 5 months before retirement. With no warning, she was just gone. But her co-workers, who were welders, janitors, nurses, clerks, they shut down the shipyard. They locked the gates and refused to move. And that act of courage, that one stand for a single woman's dignity, lit the fuse for a movement that would shake the foundations of a militarized state. The government controlled everything: wages, media, elections, and it used fear the way some governments use fuel. It powered the whole system. But the workers wanted something different. Not revenge, not even power. They wanted dignity. A nurse named Alina Piankowska grabbed a loudspeaker when the strike looked like it was about to fizzle. And she told the workers, "If you leave now, the others will be left exposed." So they stayed. Not just for Anna, but for every other factory that hadn't yet found its own voice. They issued 21 demands. On August 31st, 1980, the government signed the Gdańsk Agreement, recognizing free, independent unions and the right to strike. Solidarity formally united weeks later, and nearly 10 million people joined. Cameras captured Walesa signing the agreement with an oversized pen. The world saw it happen. But power doesn't give up quietly, as I'm sure you know. So on December 13th, 1981, tanks rolled in. It was martial law and curfews, and the phones were cut, and there were soldiers on street corners. Over 3,000 people were detained the first night, and around 5,000 by the week's end. At the Wujek coal mine, riot police opened fire on striking miners, and 9 men died, and their funerals became acts of defiance. And still, the movement didn't disappear. It went underground, into basements and churches and printing presses and general whispers. And then years later, it returned at the round table with ballots instead of batons. In June of 1989, Poland held partially free elections, at least enough to break one-party rule. And by that fall, the country was on a path to peaceful democratic transition. This wasn't a revolution of guns. It was a revolution of courage, held for years through cracked teeth and prison doors. So why do I tell this story now? Because some things are starting to look very familiar. When ICE raids start feeling like abductions, when free speech is called a threat, when riot gear is used to police grief or silence dissent, when fear is used to justify control, the answer isn't panic, and it isn't violence. It's this: hold the line, widen the circle, document everything, protect the vulnerable, train in courage, not chaos. Solidarity wasn't just a name, it was a discipline, a way of showing up, even when the cameras left, even when the risks were real. One woman lost her job, and nearly 10 million people stood up. And if that kind of story is possible, then the question isn't, can it happen here? The question is, who are we standing with right now? And who might we become if we refuse to stand alone? And if this kind of storytelling means something to you, consider visiting dancoyle.com and consider joining the Founders Circle that you'll find there. It helps keep this work rooted, grounded, and reaching the people who need it.